Hi, my name is Michelle Zacco from Cutting Edge Stencils, and we're live on Hometalk today. We're going to be taking you through a really great custom canvas tutorial using a mandala stencil. And we're going to go over some of the materials, and we're going to show you our stencils. You can get all of our stencils that we're using at cuttingedgestencils.com. So let's go over the materials that we're using for this project. We have 4 canvases. They're 12-inch canvas, and we actually picked them up in a value pack over at Joann's. You can get them at Joann's or you can get them at AC Moore, but they're a 12-inch canvas and they look like this. All right, and then we have our materials over here. We're going to be using Ben paint. So we have Ben in flat. We've chosen 2 shades of blue. I'm going to show you how you can select color. We're going to be using a spray adhesive. We're going to be using a gold metallic. We have some chip brushes along with some stencil brushes. You can also get the stencil brushes over on our website, cuttingedgestencils.com. And then we have some blue painter's tape along with painter trays. Don't forget the paper towel for offloading and some sandpaper. We're going to show you how that comes into play. Okay, so we have, for this custom canvas, we have 2 mandalas that we were looking at. We have our Prosperity mandala and the Radiance mandala. And we thought it would be super fun today to involve you guys in choosing which stencil we use for this project. So we want you to give us a heart for this project if you want to use the Prosperity over here on the right-hand side, and then give us a like if you want to use the Radiance mandala over here. So a heart for the Prosperity and a like for the Radiance. And then we're going to tally that up and choose a stencil for which one we're going to use. And also, we're going to be giving away one of these stencils to one of our viewers today. All you have to do is tell us which stencil you'd like, the Radiance or the Prosperity, and where would you use it in your home. So feel free to comment right now and tell us where you'd be using that. Let's get started on stenciling this. So we are going to start with a faux finishing technique. We're going to put these on the side. We're going to paint one of them right now. And we are going to be using a faux finishing technique called color washing. And now this is an old technique that people have used on the wall. It's basically like blending wet on wet paint. So we have selected 2 colors. Now, one of the most common questions we get is, how do I know what color I should be painting? You know, I've got this decor. I don't know which colors I should be using for my custom canvas. How do I know what's going to end up working? And so what we end up telling people is, get an index card. All you want to do is get an index card, and then you want to get the colors that you're considering. And you want to basically dip your finger into the paint. You want to swipe it across so you can get an idea of what that's going to look like. Take your blue. You're going to swipe that one across. And now you can see what your 2 blues are going to look like. And we can say, okay, do we like this? Do we want to go a little bit darker? Do we want to go a little bit lighter? Does this work for us? And then you take a little dab of your gold. And does this work? Now this color combination, can you guys see that? It's a really trendy, this rich blue color combination is really trendy right now. And it's a lot of fun. We thought we'd play around with it, but after swiping it on the index card, we realized this was the color combo we wanted to go with. So I'm going to put that on the side. But this is a really great trick anytime you're choosing color. Feel free to just swipe it onto an index card. You can hold it up to your wall. Does it look right with your decor? And kind of move it around and make sure that it works. Okay, so we're going to start out with using 3 chip brushes. And this might sound super fancy, but it's actually a very easy technique. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking our lighter color. So now for this we used Benjamin Moore Wyeth Blue, and we're using Ben in a flat paint. And then the darker color is actually After Midnight. And they're both flat. You really want to stick with a flat for a canvas. You don't want to go with a gloss, because what would happen with a gloss is as you were putting it on, you'd also be flicking it right back off. It just doesn't work. Stick with the flat, you won't have any regrets. Alright, so we're going to dip our tip brush into the lighter color, and we're going to be brushing it onto our canvas. Now just so you have an understanding of how we're going to be doing this, we're going to be brushing out our light color, and then we're going to be working the darker color into it. And this faux finishing technique is actually called color washing. And you're blending 2 wet paints onto the canvas. So now we have this, and now we're going to take a little bit of our darker color. We're going to dab our brush in, and we're going to dab it along the edges. Now, we've chosen to kind of make this into, and then you flick back and forth. And you can even bring in a 3rd brush and kind of just work the 2 colors in together. It's okay if you have a little bit, you see how you see some brush strokes? If you zoom in a little bit, you can see that you see the brush strokes. That's okay. It's okay to see the brush strokes. You have to remember that this, once we cover it, we're going to be layering on top of with a mandala. You're not going to notice it as much, and it's actually going to work together really nicely. All right, so we're going to add a little bit more of our light color, and we keep... Now don't forget, we're asking you guys to weigh in on which mandala we end up using for this project. You can just give it a heart if you want to use the prosperity, and you can give it a like if you want to use the radiance. So we lightly dab, we go and we add a little bit more of the darker blue, and then I work the two colors together, and you're going back and forth. And it's the two paints are wet on the canvas, so as you go back and forth, you're literally blending them together on the canvas. So you can see it starts out a little bit darker, and then as we move forward, it blends it to a lighter hue. This we're gonna do more of a like a burst. So we're gonna have dark, lighter, and then dark again. And that's the look that we're going for this particular project. But you could do this any way that you like, and you can kind of work with it to fit your need. You go. Just keep working our lighter color in. Now as the paint tacks up a little bit, and you'll notice that when I say tack up, it's like it's basically drying on the canvas. As it dries up onto the canvas, that's when it becomes the most workable. So right now you might think, oh no, I have to rush, I have to get it while it's wet. No, you don't have to rush while it's wet. Working with it as it's drying is better because the paint starts to thicken a little bit, and as you work it together, it's so much easier to work with. And you just lightly brush it back and forth. And see, I'm not doing it, I'm not going straight across. I'm just working the paint in and back and forth. There's a little bit of brush strokes in there, and I'm not going to worry about that. You can always take your dry brush and kind of work it a little bit more. We're just going to add some more light paint, and we can probably wrap this portion up with the light paint. And look how nicely these two colors blended together. So now you can see why our little card works so well for us. And we're going to go right around there. We're going to add some darker color. This is a really beautiful blue. And as you're adding it in, you can, you add a little bit of the dark, and then you go back in and you add a little bit of the light, and just work the two colors together so that they blend really nicely. I hope everyone is either hitting the heart or hitting the like button, so I know if you want the radiance or the prosperity mandala. And look how nicely, do you see how nicely that's blending? Yes, you do see the brush strokes. I think it works really well with this canvas. If you are not happy with the brush strokes, yeah, you can always go back in. As you see, as it tacks up a little bit, use your drier brush to kind of work the paints together. And you can kind of alleviate some of the brush strokes so that they don't stand out as much. The brush strokes, honestly, don't bother me. It's a custom canvas. It's allowed to have brush strokes. And then here, you just work the two paints together. And these two colors are blending beautifully. It really just creates such a nice glow. And we can add a little bit more dark. Now, if you want this to go darker, you just add a little bit more dark. You want it to go lighter, add a little bit more of the light. That's the best part about wall art and custom wall art, is that it can really be as dark or as light as you like it. Now don't forget, we're giving away one of our mandala stencils. All we want to know is which one you would like, the radiance or the prosperity, and then tell us where in your home you would use it. We're also running a special promotion code for all of our Hometalk fans. Use the code HOMETALK20 to get 20% off your order. Look how nicely this is blending together. What do you guys think? Do we feel that we should go a little bit darker, or are you happy with the color combination? I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Do we have any questions as we're working through this technique? I can feel the paint tacking up underneath. It makes it so easy to work with. All right. going to work it in along over here. And I get the dry brush out and we just kind of brush it in. You see how the dry brush, it just blends it so nicely. Now, if you didn't like the brush strokes, like I was saying, if you wanted to make sure that it was a little bit more smoother, you could always take a stencil brush once it was much drier than this and kind of swirl it together to give it more of a swirled sort of look rather than the harsh brush strokes. But I think this works really well right now. I don't think we're gonna have to do that. I really kind of like how this is coming together. All right, we're gonna add a little bit more of the lighter. So what are our fans weighing in? Do they like the Radiance or do they like the Prosperity for this project?
I think more people are leaning towards the Radiance.
Radiance. The Radiance is a gorgeous stencil. And we're just going to finish. Now, we want to bring this around to the sides of the canvas. So we're going to make sure that we carry the paint. I would mix a little bit of the darker color, so the color that we currently have on the darker brush, and you're just going to carry it around the edges to kind of give it a more finished look. And then we can get Now this is a very, very easy technique. This is a great way to get a custom piece of wall art. Wall art is something that we love. It's a great way to introduce color and pattern into your home. If, let's say, if you're renting, or maybe you're just not in the place where you can paint the entire wall, you can't commit to the color, you can't commit to the trend. For whatever reason, this is a really easy way to introduce a little bit of color. Mandalas are very, very trendy right now. So it's a great way to introduce the mandala trend into your home, and you have a simple piece that you can put up, but then you can also take it down when you get tired of it. And a wonderful thing about canvas art is that you can, eventually you could really just repaint over it. If something's not looking right, don't be afraid. It's okay, because eventually, with canvas art, you could just spray paint it white or cover it in white, and redo it if you had to. That's that simple. So I really think that our thing has moved along in a nice direction. I think we have a little bit of some brush strokes here that we can work in a little bit more, and you can, let this sit for a while and go back to it.
I have a question.
Oh, what's the question?
Did you prime the canvas first?
We did not prime the canvas first. They were already plain white canvases that we had picked up. You could prime it. But there was really no need, especially because the type of paint we're needing has great coverage. So Benjamin Moore has a really great line of paints. And they could have potentially been pre-primed. I'm not quite sure if the package had said that. But
we have another question.
Okay.
Is it best to use a thin brush or a small sponge stick to get into really thin spots?
A thin
for
brush.
The stencils.
Oh, for stencils, a thin brush would probably work the best. If you're trying to get into a small size, you want to use a bigger stencil for a bigger space and use a smaller stencil brush for a smaller space. Okay, so I think we're ready here. We're gonna let this sit on the side, and we're gonna move on to the next portion of this. So what you would want to do is, now we actually had 4. Now this project entails 4 canvases. What you would be doing is you would literally paint all 4 of the canvases, just like this, and you would give each one, so do the darker on the center, you're going to do sort of almost like a ring of the light, and you're going to do darker along the edges if you were going to recreate this project at home. But for the purpose of this, we're showing you how we painted 1 canvas. But you would potentially be painting 4 of them, or you could always paint 1, but for this project it would be 4. So we're going to put these on the side. We're going to let this sit on the side, and we're going to let this dry. We used a considerable amount of paint for this. You would probably give something like this, maybe you give it a day. If you can't give it a day, get a hair dryer, hit it up with a hair dryer, make sure it's properly dried before you move on to the next step. We are going to move on to the stencil. So it sounds like if the votes are in, we had a heart going for the Prosperity, and we had a thumbs up going for the Radiance. So one last vote. What are we at? Hearts, or are we at likes, guys? Are we going to do the Prosperity or the Radiance?
Prosperity's coming in for the win, I think, Michelle.
Prosperity it is. Prosperity it's a very pretty stencil pattern. Either one of these, we're using a 24-inch mandala stencil, and either one of these would be perfect for a project like this. So we are going to apply a little bit of spray adhesive. So we're going to show you how to do that. We always get asked, how do I apply spray adhesive? Spray adhesive is not something to be scared of. We're going to take you outside for this one. But today we're using Elmer's Craft Bond. You can get this at your local craft store. And let's go on outside. We have to shake the pan, make sure it's been properly mixed. Let's take our stencil outside and we're going to apply. You always want to do this in a well-ventilated area. That's why we don't want to do it inside. You also don't want to do it on your couch. You don't want to do it on something that it's going to leave a residue behind. You don't want to leave it tacky. So we put a little bit of paper down outside. We're going to go outside. We're going to spray it, and then we'll come back in to finish up the project. Okay, we are outside. We're in Ramsey, New Jersey, and it is beautiful out today. It is about 75 degrees. We haven't seen sun in days, so we are so excited to be out here and to be stenciling in this great weather. Where are our viewers from? Are they local to Ramsey, New Jersey, or are you guys dispersed throughout the U.S. and Canada? All right, so we're gonna lay this on the back. So our stencils, if you can see, they say www.cuttingedgestencils.com. You're gonna flip this over so that it's the back side of the stencil. This is how you know which side you're stenciling. You're gonna shake up our Elmer's spray adhesive, and now we're gonna lightly coat the back of the stencil. And that would be the back of the stencil. All right, so now you just make sure the words are on the other side. We're going to apply an even coat. Okay. We're going to shake this off. We're going to give it a couple minutes to tack up. I'm going to explain that in a minute. We're going to go back inside. Now, spray adhesive, as I mentioned, you're going to spray it. You always spray it on the back side of the stencil. But then you also want to give it, it's called the knuckle tack. You want to make sure you take your knuckle, you're going to gently stick it on. If your knuckle's tacking up, you know that you're in the, it's tacky enough to now apply your stencil. If you were to apply it too soon, if it hasn't had that chance to tack up, what you're doing is you're basically going to be leaving behind a residue. Once the spray adhesive has had a chance to kind of tack up to the test, the knuckle tack, you're going to be able to easily put it on and remove it and not leave behind a residue. Because if you leave behind a residue, that's when, you know, it's going to be all gunky, it's going to be hard to clean off. So if that's just all right, so now we've gone ahead and we have pre-painted 4 canvases. We've given them a chance to dry, and we're going to apply. We have our 4 canvases. Just to make this project a little bit easier, we've gone ahead and we've applied some painter's tape to the back of the canvases, just to tape them together, hold it in place while we stencil. It's a little trick there. Okay, now we're going to take our stencil and we're going to position it on the top. The spray adhesive allows it to, it will hold it in place. It also kind of, it gives a little bit of a tack, keeps it right there with it. All right, and so we are going to line up the mandala so that it's centered. Then we're going to gently press down. Just make sure the spray adhesive holds it. There's a lot of delicate bridges. That's one of the things that makes our mandalas so gorgeous, is all the delicate bridges. But that's what we need the spray adhesive, just to hold it all in place. Make sure it's not moving as we stencil it. Okay. Now we're going to be using a gold metallic craft paint. We had gotten a question before about how do we know which stencil brush to be using when we're doing something like this. If we were going to be stenciling the multiple colors, and we were going to be doing like the tops were going to be a different color than something else, we would use a much smaller, even this would be a little bit too big. You would want to use a smaller stencil brush to go to the smaller openings so you can really work the different colors in the areas that you want. We've chosen to go with one color because our background is multiple colors already. We're going with one metallic. It's going to look great. But we're going to use a larger stencil brush, and we actually sell this one on our website also, so you can kind of get the stencil and you can get the stencil brush, and remember, 20% off, Hometalk 20 is that code. All right, so we are going to gently dab our stencil brush into our paint, then we're going to offload it into the tray, and now we're going to be offloading it even more onto the paper towel. So we go like this, and then we just want to palette the brush. Paleting the brush just means that we want to, and you can see it's not even completed yet, we want to evenly coat the bottom of the brush so that paint is not on one side and not on the other side. If you have paint on one side and not on the other, it's going to be splotchy as you put it on your stencil. Same thing with a roller. You want to make sure that you evenly disperse the paint. It just makes the whole project go way easier than this. So kind of mix it around so that you can get the whole brush to be evenly coated, and now you can see we've got good coverage there. Okay, so now we're going to lightly dab. This metallic gold is going to look gorgeous.
We have a question.
Yeah?
Should I spray the stencil when I use it on the wall as well?
You can use spray adhesive. You don't need to. You don't need to use it for a wall project. You can use it for a wall project. It's always going to kind of assist, and it's going to give you a little bit more of a cleaner line. It can be a little nerve-wracking to use spray adhesive for the first time. Just do exactly what I did. You want to spray it down lightly, make sure that it's a little tacky, and then you're gonna, you can apply it to the wall, and it'll give you a little bit cleaner of a line. Especially if you're, if you're new to stenciling and you haven't done it before, it makes it so much easier to use the spray adhesive because it's almost like a safety net. You don't have to worry. So we're gonna get a little bit more paint on. Now, if you notice, I'm not digging the stencil brush underneath. I'm lightly dabbing it on top, and you really don't want to dig on it. You can kind of, put it gently over the top of the stencil, but what you don't want to do is dig your stencil brush underneath the stencil. It's going to cause bleed. We don't want this project to bleed. Blue and gold is one of my favorite color combinations. I think it just looks so pretty. What does everyone think of blue and gold? Is everyone feeling the blue and gold trend?
People love it, Michelle. They love what you did with the canvas. A lot of people said they'd leave it the way it was without the mandala.
Ah, the mandala really just takes it that extra wow. 7 canvases come in the pack. And so you're only using 4 of them, which give you 3 extra. And so one of the things that I love to do, now I have 3 kids, I love to, sometimes I'll paint up a canvas, and then we have letter stencils. So I've taken the kids' initials, like the initial J, and then I tape it on, I use a little spray adhesive for the kid, and I let them be their own little stencil artist. And it's a really great kids project. Our initial stencils are very inexpensive, and they're perfect for a kids project. And then they have a custom wall art that they can hang in their room. They're so proud of what they do. So it's just an extra little bonus. You're already going out, you're already purchasing the 7-pack of canvases, so you might as well add it. It could be a fun family project. Now don't forget, we are giving away one of the mandalas today. All you have to do is tell us which mandala is your favorite. Was it the Radiance or was it the Prosperity? And then tell us where in your home you would use it. There's so many different things that you can do with a mandala stencil. I'm sure if you have been following us on our Hometalk page, you probably saw that we recently had done mandalas on little small tables. We've also done mandala wall art on a piece of wood, which we have. Maybe Erica will swing the camera right around. She can show you the fab wall art that we have right behind us. Believe it or not, this was an old tabletop that had been rescued out of the trash, and rather than just, make more landfill, we created a really great piece of custom wall art. One of the great things about our mandalas is that they are reusable. So you could do a project like this, and then you could turn around, you find an old wooden table, maybe you want to use it for your outdoor table, or we've had a lot of popularity with putting a mandala on decks, especially with grilling season, Memorial Day coming right up. Who wouldn't want to have to wow their guests with a beautiful mandala? You almost don't have to serve them any food. Alright, so we're just going to keep stenciling it in, take our time, make sure that we have all of our openings have been properly filled. dab it in and we make sure we brush it off.
I have a question.
Sure.
Can a foam roller be used instead of a stencil brush for this project?
You could totally use a foam roller. You could use a 2-inch dense foam roller would be perfect for a project like this. We've done a lot of projects where we've used the foam roller. We really wanted to show fans how you could use a stencil brush, but you could totally use a dense foam roller. It would be just as easy, especially if you're doing one color. One color is going to easily roll on. Our stencils, the easiest way to clean them is with soap and water. So that's a common question because you're going to be reusing it again. You want to make sure that you clean off the paint. So when you were done, you would just peel it away. One of the quickest ways to do it is you throw it either in a large sink. If you don't have a large sink, throw it into the bathtub. And then once it's been thrown into the bathtub, you just rinse it off with your hand, gentle with a mandala. All these little bridges, they could break. If you're rubbing it with your hand, you could easily end up breaking it. So you just want to be very gentle with it. This looks like it's coming out so pretty. I can't wait to see once it's completed. All right, and we're going to keep traveling up here, and we'll add some metallic gold. We have any other stencil questions as we're working through this project? I think the Prosperity was a great choice.
What kind of gold paint are you using?
We actually picked up a gold paint from the craft store. I think it was a Folk Art Gold. They make a lot of great metallic paints. Martha Stewart has a great metallic paint that can be purchased at the craft store. Some metallics are a little bit more translucent than others, so you do need to have a second coat. Actually, yes, here is our metallic gold, the Folk Art right there. Now, it may need a second coat, and that's fine. You let it dry a little bit, then you add the second coat, and it's fine. We seem to be having a lot of luck with this one today. And don't forget, now you can get this mandala over at cuttingedgestencils.com. And we have a ton of great tutorials over on our Hometalk page. I believe our deck tutorial is up there. We actually used the same mandala. I think it was a 74-inch, and we did it on an outdoor deck. It is stunning. Talk about having the perfect outdoor scenery. So one of the great ways, as you're doing it, and obviously we still need more paint, but as you're doing this, you're like, oh, is it covering enough? Do I need to add more paint? Is it good enough? What you would do is you can just gently, remember we have the spray adhesive, we'll just gently peel it back, and you can reveal a little bit. I'm going to get a sneak peek of what the pattern's going to look like. Okay, and then you would just put it back down. Okay. And we're using a pouncing technique because we're not going to dig our stencil under. This canvas is going to have a beautiful glow. So what are some of the creative places that our fans think that they're going to be using this stencil?
A lot of people said their bathroom.
Yeah.
Bathrooms.
Same.
Oh, that's great.
People want to know what the largest stenciled mandala we make is.
So we have a 70-inch, which is huge. It's actually a quarter. And if you go on our website, we really show some great tricks when you're stenciling because with a quarter of the stencil, you are going to have to rotate it around. One of the tricks that we use is actually to put a thumbtack right here in the center. You put the thumbtack in like it's like you're doing a deck or you're doing a little piece of, it'd be a very large piece of furniture or even a wall. Put the thumbtack in and then you're going to rotate the stencil around. And that's going to make sure that you're evenly rotating the stencil.
Some of our viewers would do it on a canvas and a round wood table.
Yes, canvas and table projects are so nice to have mandalas. Our nesting tables turned out gorgeous, but we've also seen them put onto regular tables. and it just really completes it. It gives it that exotic look.
We got laundry room.
A laundry room. Now that would be a lot of fun. Makes laundry a lot more exciting. Okay, I think we are properly covered. All right, guys, you're my viewers. Do you guys see, do I have spots that I'm missing? Take a close look, because I'm sure you guys can point them out. Well, we'll pounce a little bit more over here.
Oh, someone will put it in their nail salon.
Oh, a nail salon. We've seen yoga studios, so yoga studios, they work perfect, but I think a nail salon, how peaceful would that be? Get your nails done, have a beautiful mandala on the wall. You DIYers are so creative.
They
Love
said
these
on
ideas.
pillows and curtain panels.
Oh, curtain panels would definitely be fun. Okay, I think I'm ready to reveal the stencil. And let's see what this looks like. Don't forget, we're running the 20% off for you guys, so it's an exclusive code only for our Hometalk fans. It is Hometalk 20. You get 20% off. Okay. What does everyone think? Are you ready to see it revealed? You're probably like, yes, we can't wait to see what the pattern looks like. I know, I'm excited too. I think it's going to look really, really good. I mean, it's a beautiful pattern, and I just really love the shades of blue on here.
Just a reminder, you can get our stuff at www.cuttingedgestencils.com. We do have a sale going on until next Tuesday, exclusively for Hometalk viewers. You can use the code HOMETALK20 at checkout.
Okay. And we are also giving away one of these beautiful prosperity mandalas. All you have to do is you have to comment whether you like the radiance or you like the prosperity, and then tell us where in your home you would use it. And so you'll be entered into the giveaway. We're going to be announcing that at the end of this video. All right, we are ready. I am ready to reveal this. Are you guys ready? Everyone is ready to see what this looks like? All right, we're going to peel back from over here. All right, guys, here we go. Oh, look how gorgeous that looks. That is beautiful. That is stunning. I love how this turned out. Amazing. All right, so just to show you how this would look on the wall, because we've actually pre-done one. We actually did it with the Radiance mandala. We're just going to spin around and we're going to show you what it would look like on the wall over here. And here you go. How gorgeous is this Radiance mandala painted on 12-inch canvases? It's amazing. And spread it apart a little bit. It's perfect. So don't forget, you can get all of our stencils over at cuttingedgestencils.com. We're running that exclusive promo for all of our Hometalk fans. Do we have a winner announced yet for our who's going to get the mandala stencil?
Okay, so we are going to look for her name, but the nail salon did catch our eye. So whoever said they'd put it in their nail salon, they are our winner.
Okay, congratulations. Yay. We'll be reaching out to you via Hometalk, and we can't wait to see which project and see your nail salon, how that turns out. And, you know, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget, you can get our stencils at cuttingedgestencils.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.